So the first one is the rubber band finger stretch. So you're gonna put a rubber band around your fingers and then just extend them out slowly. Hold it for a second and then bring it back in. And you do that 10 times and you do 3 sets of them. And then to progress it, you would make the rubber band tighter so that it is harder to do. So do that 10 times. Okay.
Begin.
So this one is just grip putty. So you're just going to continuously squeeze it for 10 to 15 minutes. And then to progress it, you would change to a different putty that is harder to squeeze. So you'd use this one. And do that for 10 to 15 minutes, once or twice a day.
Action.
So the next one we'll do is just a wrist stretch. So you bring it out like this and hold that for like 10 to 15 seconds. Do that a couple times. So then to progress it, you would use a stretch band. So you can use this. So the next one you're going to do is a wrist curl. So you're going to stabilize your arm on the table and just curl just your wrist with the weight in it. And you do that 10 times and do 3 sets of them. And then to progress it, you would just go up in weight. So you can use the 4-pound weight instead of the 1 to progress this one. Okay, so the next exercise we're going to do is just the arm bike. So you're just going to be going like this, and we'll do that for about 10 minutes. And then to progress this, we would just increase the intensity of the bike.
Go.
So the next exercise we'll do is elbow curls. So you're going to put the band around your foot and just curl your arm up, and you're going to do 3 sets of 10 of those. And then to progress it, you would just use a harder band, so you could use this one to progress it. So for this exercise, we're going to do the forearm pull down. So you're going to grab the band like this and pull it down. You'll do this 10 times and you'll do 3 sets of them. And then to progress it, you would move on to the blue band and just do the same thing. So for this exercise, you're going to do a forearm twist. So you're going to start like this and just supinate and pronate your wrist just like this. You'll do this about 10 times and do 3 sets of them. And to progress it, you just move on to a heavier weight. So the next exercise we'll do is elbow curls with your palm down. So you're just going to find 2 of the same weight and just do this. So you can do them. And then to progress it, you would just move to a heavier weight. next we'll do external rotation. So you're going to hold this in your hand and keep your elbow in and externally rotate your arm, and I'm going to provide resistance against you. And you'll do 3 sets of 10 with this. And then to progress it, we will go to a harder band, so we'll use blue for this.
Alright, so for neuromuscular control, first thing we can do is we can just implement some perturbations and some randomness to the joint to help kind of get the neuromuscular system firing. So we're going to have the patient laying supine, elbow at 90, and we're just going to shake and tell the patient to keep the forearm straight. And by increasing difficulty, I can increase the amount of times I hit the patient's forearm, or increase the amount of time in between sets. And another way we can increase this is have the patient close their eyes. And that's the same thing of them. Alright, so next what we're going to do is we're going to have the patient do some elbow flexion. However, we're going to use a body blade to again cause perturbations at the joint and increase the can't remember the word, but the recruitment of mechanoreceptors and sensory motor skills. To increase the difficulty of this, we can change the stability of the surface that the patient is doing the flexion on. So we can use a Dynadisc, Eric's pad, probably not a Bose ball, but and another way to increase the difficulty is simply having the patient close their eyes. Alright, so for this next one, we're gonna have the patient do is they're gonna hold a flex elbow push-up position. We're gonna have them do this for 5 to 10 seconds. We're looking for maintenance of the stability, and how we're gonna check that is by making them hold a foam roll on their back and make sure to keep it from rolling. You can relax now. So while they're doing this, we're looking for any shaking, any loss of balanceness, or just inability to do it the whole time. To increase the difficulty, we can decrease the stability of the surface they are holding the position on. And again, we would help them to try to maintain this, and to increase it from here, we would have the patient close their eyes. You can relax. Alright, so for the next one, we're again going to be recruiting the mechanoreceptors and sensory motor skills. We're going to have the patient flex on a table, on a comfortable surface, and they're going to just do ulnar and supination and pronation with a body blade. They're going to do this for about 10 to 15 seconds for about 5 to 7 times. What we're looking for is again just the completion of the movements, the elbow to stay on the table, and the forearm to not come off too much. To increase the difficulty, we can again change the stability of the surface they are doing it on, and looking for the same things, or simply just have the patient close their eyes. So for this next drill, we're going to have the patient again in a flex position. The patient is going to hold the ball, and using solely his wrist, he's going to go into dorsiflexion and palmar flexion. And the goal is to keep the elbow and the forearm on the table. It should solely be the wrist producing the force to put the ball into the air. To increase the difficulty, we can again change the stability of the surface the patient is working with. Again, looking for the same things: the elbow to stay on the table, most of the forearm to stay on the table. And to increase the difficulty once more, we can have the patient close their eyes. Okay, so for this next drill, we're going to have the patient get more involved in some sport-specific stuff. We're going to have the patient pretend this is a tennis racket, and we're just going to have them do some basic tennis motions. We're just going to start with a basic front hand. Do about 3 sets of 10 for those. Have the patient get used to this motion. Then we would progress to backhand. Again, have the patient get used to this to increase difficulty. we can start throwing in more of the complicated strokes, such as the overhead and the underhand. Want to decrease the difficulty even further, we can apply weight around the hitting arm to help increase strength as well. And then obviously we could progress with more and more weight. Okay, so next for sport specific, we're gonna have the patient stand on the ball side of the Bosu ball. We're then gonna have the patient again use those sport specific motions. We're gonna toss a ball at them, and with their hand, they're gonna hit it back to us, similar to as if they had a tennis racket within their hand to increase the difficulty. And again, what I'm looking for is just basic motions with no compensations. And if the patient is able to complete them to increase the difficulty, we could flip over the Bosu ball to use the hard side of the Bosu ball. Have the patient do the same thing. And then once the patient is feeling proficient in that, we will then hand them their stick or their racket, and we will do these things in the same way. So for this next drill, what we're going to have the patient do is a little bit of ladders. However, we're going to make this a little bit more tailored to the sport by, upon the first throw, I will throw the ball to the patient. The patient will hit it back with me with their racket. So like so. Then the patient will do 5 ladders. I will meet them at the end. Hit it back like so. The patient will come back and hit it back like so, and so on and so forth. The patient will do this for 10 seconds about 5 times, and we can increase the difficulty by increasing the amount of time they would do this for, increase it to 15 to 20 seconds, and we can also increase the difficulty by progressing the amount of ladders they would do. So we could go to 6 ladders, 7 ladders, 8 ladders, and 9 ladders. What we're looking for is, again, the patient to be functional and able and not feeling any pain or lack of range of motion, and we're looking for no compensations as well. So next what we'll be doing is the patient will do an overhead ball throw or ball slam. So the patient's going to obviously start off with a weight that they are comfortable with, assume kind of a squat position, and from over the head down, the patient will slam the ball into the ground. What we're looking for is the patient to maintain their balance and not move from that spot. We're also looking for the patient to provide power in the correct form from the shoulders down. We're looking for any compensations or any abnormal movements during this. To increase the difficulty, we can make the weight of the ball that the patient is slamming higher. And then another way to increase the difficulty is after the patient slams, we can toss a ball, have them hit it back to us, and proceed with their drill. So next we're going to have the patient do is just going to be some overhead squat jumps. So the patient's going to put the hands above their head and squat and jump. The patient is going to do this about 10 times for 3 sets. We're looking for the patient to maintain the same area that they left the ground from. We're looking for proper activation of the correct muscles. No, I don't know what the word is, but no compensations. To increase this, we can have the patient, once they land, throw the ball, toss it back, or hit it back. They would have their stick. And then to further increase it, we could continue the same thing and either implement a weight belt or a weight vest.
Alright, so for this first one, we're going to do supine hip twist. So you're going to have them lay on their back, put the ball under their feet, make sure their knees are together, and he's going to draw his stomach in, so bring his belly button to his back, and then he's just going to rotate his hips and keep his stomach drawn in the whole time. Make sure he's breathing. He's going to do it 10 times. He should 5. And then once he does it, we're going to have him relax, take the ball away, and then have him do it again. And make sure he's keeping his knees at a 90-degree angle. His stomach is drawn in. His hips are at a 90-degree angle. There you go. Perfect. So for this one, we're going to do a seated on a ball just marching in place. So he's gonna draw his stomach in again the whole time. Make sure his belly button's to his back. And he's gonna stand up straight, and he's just gonna one leg at a time, just gonna march in place. You wanna make sure that his stomach is drawn in the whole time. Make sure he can keep his balance. And then after he does that, we're gonna transition him to doing that on the wall. So just a wall sit instead of the ball. So he's gonna sit on the wall, draw his stomach in again. And if you can, keep a 90-degree angle and then try to march in place. So one, see if you can. Yep. If you can't, then don't. Alright, so for this exercise we're gonna do, you're gonna bring your belly button to your back. So draw your stomach in, and then you're gonna bring your knees up and bring the ball into you. Then make a 90-degree angle. You're gonna do that 10 times, and then to progress it, when you come in, you're gonna do a bridge with bring your butt and back off the table. Okay, so for this exercise, we're gonna do Russian twists, and then to progress it, we're gonna do add a medicine ball. So you're gonna do a crunch, so crunch up, bring your knees up, and you're just gonna bring your arms to each side, touch the table if you can. And to progress it, we're gonna hand them a ball, and they're gonna make sure to touch the ball on the sides. Okay, so for this last one, we're gonna do dead bugs. So they're gonna be supine. You're gonna bring their knees up to 90 degrees, and you're gonna bring your opposite leg out when you extend your opposite arm, just like that. Yep. And you're gonna do that for 10 seconds. And then to increase it, you can have them do a crunch. So crunch up, do the same thing.